Welcome to State of the Culture, the most authentic, cultivated, somewhat unbiased shit-talking show out there. Every week, we're bringing you fresh new topics from different perspectives. We'll be discussing new music, classic moments, and we'll certainly get into some of the deeply rooted issues affecting our culture. So let's get right into it. Hip-hop makes the Forbes list. Child murderer George Zimmerman threatens the Carters, and Drake and Meek set aside their personal differences. All the while, Smoke Perp got his ass beat by the bathroom by Russ and his Goonies. Wale dropped a surprise EP, and Kanye says Watch the Throne 2 is in the works. I'm just not sure Hov is aware. This is State of the Culture. Hip-hop is the commonality. Bridge the gap between the young Lils to the older OGs. There's an endless need for information to decode the culture. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, if you'd like to weigh in on the conversation, please use the hashtag SOTC. Some of us would love to hear your thoughts. By some of us, I mean Scotty, Jinx, and Remy.
Nope.
No.
All right.
No.
Let's get right to the shits. For the very first time, Lil Uzi Vert, Logic, and Nas made it to the Forbes list. My question to my established panel is, what is my question to you guys? Are we watching hip-hop acts make money outside of hip-hop right before our very eyes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's a lot of ways, right? You look at artists, like, it's not even small ball anymore.
Well, talk slow when you start talking about a lot of ways, because I think the audience really has no idea how hip-hop acts make money.
Well, it's not just, like, through your actual music. I mean, I remember when people were celebrating Rick Ross owning Wingstops, right? But you got guys playing in...
And Checkers.
And Checkers and Rallies
Can't
and all
sleep
that.
on it.
Love
which is
Checkers.
delicious, by the way. You guys should sponsor me. So what you're seeing is, like, I mean, dudes are playing at a high level. You look at, like, a Nas who's finally on the list, right? Dude owns a media company. He owns a clothing line. He owns a store. He's doing investments weekly.
That Ring doorbell thing that they
Yeah, he's
sold
messing
for
with,
all
with
that
companies
money.
with Jeff
Nigga owns
Bezos and
everything.
Amazon. You know, I know he was tied to the guys at Genius at one point. Like,
So, but those things have been happening with Nas, right? Or are all of those things new? Because why hasn't he been on the list?
some of them are new, but some of them are hitting right now. You know, you look at a company like a Mass Appeal,
Mass Appeal.
he's getting an investment, right? So you're seeing these guys, that's an investment. It's not the quick flip. It's investing in a company before people believe in it and putting your cash there and helping to build it up and use your star power to build it up, and then getting the people with other money, the people that are higher up on that general Forbes list to invest in you so you can climb that list. Hip-hop Forbes list is great, but these guys should be climbing the proper list, and you're seeing them do it, you know, especially the guys at the top.
Remy?
I mean, I think hip-hop has been the stepping stone and the gateway for so many other avenues that allow rappers, as you want to call them, to make money. And it's just now being highlighted because they didn't have a hip-hop Forbes list before. This is something that's fairly new that they started doing. And it's crazy because there are artists like, take a Will Smith, or Queen Latifah, or Ice Cube for that matter, these are people who were rappers. Queen Latifah was a rapper. Ice Cube, rapper. Will Smith, this is what he did, and they're so far gone that people, I think a lot of their fans that they even have now probably don't even know that this is the platform that they actually started on. And it's not that hip hop is getting smarter, it's just that we're realizing our power. We're realizing how they're taking these brands and they're building them bigger based off of the success and the popularity of hip-hop music. And in turn, it's trickling down, thank God, to the artists, because I'm pretty sure had this type of wave happened about 10, 15 years ago when the record labels were still in control of things, you wouldn't see these artists on the list because they would have figured out a way how they could control it. When they used to, you know, sponsor out, oh, you hear your song in a video game or something like that, it really didn't have anything to do with the artist. Somebody at the label put the song in, submitted it, and that was that. Now it's like, artists is like, okay, I'm in a video game, I want to be personally in the video. Let the video game be about me. They have apps. They have liquor brands, clothing companies, different technology things that they're doing. Real estate is a big thing that a lot of artists are investing in where they can make money. And I think the general public that you was talking about, what the case is with them is if all they used to, which they've just recently been trained in as well, is the charts, the billboards, the this, the that. So if they don't see you on the charts and they don't hear your music all day, you don't got no money. You don't got this, not knowing that there's so many artists, like people that he was naming, like there's the Chameleonaires that was invested in text. There are people like Akon. There are people like Wyclef. There are all these different artists that are not on the charts, that are not making music right now, but they are very well off because they took that brand that they had and what they was able to get just from music and turned it into something else. And even bigger, you can have it to where it's things that have absolutely nothing to do with music or brands.
Right.
Like a Swiss Beats, who's the ambassador for the New York City health and hospitals.
Like a Styles being a Jadakiss with juice bars.
Exactly, has absolutely nothing to do with music. Or even you go further back to one of the hip hop originators, that's not that people, not to diminish what he done, but you have a KRS-One, people who get to go and sit in colleges and give seminars, and they have actual classes that you earn credits for to get your degree. So
who won, KRS or Nelly?
What?
My bad, go ahead, you were saying?
What?
KRS or Nelly?
No, you were saying, you were making a point.
Wait.
I think also to add on to what Rem's saying, it's like we're talking about artists right now. The higher tier is artists that are in their Plan B stage, right? But part of that's because Plan A's worked to some extent. Like even Chameleonaire took some of those coins and invested them. The guys at the bottom, they're still in Plan A, some of them, right? They're still actually performing. Hip hop is huge. It's like our biggest export. We don't make shit in America, but we do make music and we make culture. That's sellable to everywhere. You go to any other country, they look like us.
And Ford,
Right.
or they Ford.
Yeah, and Fords. And they're trying to,
And
Like,
crack.
They
Make crack.
Thanks, Rem.
All right, Ram. Yeah,
Right.
I think rap has become considerably more lucrative. At least the market share is a lot bigger. We own the charts. We own, like we were talking before. You walk into Starbucks, that's rap playing now. It still shocks
We're the
me.
#1 genre.
Who the
period.
fuck walks into Starbucks?
I'm in Starbucks.
You still go to
you don't
Starbucks
drink
after
coffee?
that? No, they wouldn't let us use the bathroom.
What? You?
Oh my
Chill,
God.
Jinx.
Damn,
Jinx.
Jinx.
Black Lives Matter, Jinx.
That doesn't even happen yet in the show.
You got Starbucks, nigga? Oh,
You gotta
God damn
order.
it, Jinxie.
Starbucks is delicious, my man. But yeah, we're everywhere. You know what I mean? I look at records are premiering on the NBA right now. Kendrick and J. Cole, both their records, the week they dropped, they were at the NBA Finals. We're big now.
The
So
NBA
did
Finals,
too.
has, let me just say, they've been breaking acts for
sure,
some
but
years
look,
now.
the
Black
bigger
Eyed
issue
Peas.
here is that Plan A can be even more lucrative than it was in the past. And so if you're an artist now, don't let Plan A work and then get into Plan B. Let Plan A work and then start Plan B at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things. So I've been noticing people like, you getting into that, you must be washed up. No, I'm getting into it because people are still listening
No,
to
because
what I'm
people
saying.
still think that this famous thing cuts the checks, and it doesn't cut any checks.
I don't know why they
No.
think that.
Right, they think that this social media famous thing cuts the checks, and it's good to see like Lil Uzi Vert and Logic, you know what I'm saying, actually pave the way. Not actually pave the way,
I wish they would
but
do that
actually
one day.
Start a path.
Just turn off all social, shut down
Right,
IG,
and then see how
Twitter,
niggas
everything.
react.
And just for like a
And how
month,
they
so I can
move.
just see some of
Right.
these people just shrivel up
Because
and die
doing things
away.
behind the scenes will get you more money, and people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Doing business behind the scenes will get you way more money than being in front anywhere.
We're talking about hip hop being the entry-level position to big business, right? But on the other side of it, from the artist's perspective, for a lot of years, I never saw myself wanting to be anything outside of the best rapper in the world. When you spend some time in the game, you start to give a lot less than a fuck about being the best rapper in the world, and all of your attention is solely on your business and your moves and just the shit you're...
I think you should be passionate. I think we were talking about it before. Every rapper should think that they're the best and go to try to achieve that. But also, you need to have a good team, too, because none of these people are doing this by themselves. You should go be the best rapper in the world. And
If
I
you're
should
the
be
best
your
and
team
you broke,
member,
I'm judging you.
taking the products of your best rapper in the world, lucrative, and all your cash that you get off that, and help to keep you alive. Because at some point, you may not want to be the best rapper in the world. At some point, you may
Talk
not
about
be the
it.
best rapper in the world. There's dudes that were the best rapper in the world and didn't see a lot of profit off that.
But
So you need someone
that's what
behind
I
you
was
to
about to
support
say.
you.
When Joe stopped wanting to be the best rapper in the world, when he realized it wasn't going to pay the fucking bills. You could be the
38.
nicest. You could
38
be
still trying
the
to outbar niggas.
nicest on the planet. Like it's not based on that. But those are the times when you realize that just having talent, doesn't pay your bills. It doesn't feed your family.
Not
It's kind of
enough.
heartbreaking.
Not
No,
enough.
it's sad.
That's heartbreaking.
It's
That
sad, but
breaks
think
my
about
heart.
it. Some of the nicest motherfuckers, they don't get the check. They don't see the money.
go down as legends,
They
but
don't.
they don't.
But they don't see the money. And some of the people with the least talented people, you know, they get it, and it has a lot to do with their team. It has a lot
Team
to
is
do with
very important,
Oh,
man.
of course,
If there's
of
no
course.
TDE with Kendrick, we may view him differently. If there's no Puff with Ready to Die, if there's no Master P, like just
All the success cases that are on that list, they got people around them. I mean, I think about back in the day when Hov was sitting with Warren Buffett. You know, he's outside of hip hop, but LeBron is a huge example. He watched Hov. You know, that's his examples of black success. He's talking about Diddy, Hov, and Dre, and he's trying to emulate that in his arena. It's a team, it's education, it's changing your perspective and being like, go ahead and be the best. LeBron's still on the court, right? Some of these guys are still rapping.
and he's still very much a hip hop kid. Like, that's the part I love about LeBron. Like, he came in being this huge Hove guy. Like, that was great. Still, all of these years later, now that your place is defined, he's still a hip hop guy. He's still A&R.
And you don't got to turn your back on hip hop, because that used to be like part of the message, and it's like that in the black community too, right? Like, when you get money in the hood, you got to leave the hood. That's changing. People are starting to be like, yo, invest in the hood.
That's
you know,
not
those,
changing.
those juice
You can
bars.
invest,
you
but
can
you
invest
can still
while
leave.
you-
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you can
but
leave
also,
and
for
invest.
instance,
You're
when I
gonna
think
get
about-
booked.
Right.
I think about we mentioned Styles and Jada. You know, I think about them putting juice bars, you know, in Yonkers. You know what I mean? Like, put it there for your people, and also
Yonkers, the
yeah,
Bronx.
you know what I mean. Instead of like going and putting a liquor store there, right, or going and leaving entirely. And I think it's not necessarily presence in the hood, but like, you know, you look at like a Brooklyn, for instance, people leaving and then that property's gone. Nah, this is how everyone gets it. We keep talking about looking for the regular Joe, like the regular guy. This is how everyone gets it. You got to start to spread that information. So if these rappers are getting on, you said that rappers become it's a tool to elevate people. So let the fans see that. Let them feel like they could do it. Let the regular Joe see and feel like they could do it they're doing it.
I think that's what's happening. I think that's why a lot of these newer artists that we're just seeing make the Forbes list, they learn from seeing, you know, Puff go with the Ciroc and Hove with the Ace and the Rockaway and the Sean John
French
and all
with the
these,
elephant.
you know, all these different things. I cannot
What
with
were you
this
saying,
guy.
Remy?
What is
I can't with him.
Remy was talking.
All these different things you learn from each other, and that's something that I kind of respect that when we're trying to educate the youngs on how to expand their brand, how to grow their money, and not just rely on having a hot record or the best bars or whatever. And I think
Because
it's
if
dope.
we don't, who will?
You damn sure not gonna do it.
Nah, that's not true. You know, I don't want none of these young niggas in 360s. I want all these young niggas to leverage their rights the right way. I don't want niggas just relinquishing shit to the labels. Like,
You want them to be like me?
nah, you ran to the label, man. You ain't stay in the.
Excuse me. Ask where my master's at. Ask where my publishing is at. Ask what happened.
Talk
What
about it
happened?
now.
Don't play.
Yo, so listen, let's talk about something that I don't think anybody here will hate on, a bit more of a serious topic. Let's talk about George Zimmerman. I know Remy and Deani aren't pleased, but let's use this as a very teachable moment. Child murderer and fuckboy George Zimmerman threatened the most famous couple on the planet, Jay-Z and Beyonce. He sent a text to a private investigator that read, "Tell Jay-Z he's a bitch and his wife is a broke whore. If I see either of them in life, they'll find themselves inside a 13-foot gator." My question to the panel, who gives, let me not say that.
That's the question.
Well, who gives a fuck
Why
about
the fuck
George
is this a headline? Why is this a headline? Why are we talking about this? Why?
I was gonna say, why do people give a fuck about George Zimmerman, right? But I understand why his name is always put in these types of things. It's the same reason that LeVar Ball's name is put into things. George Zimmerman's name spikes things. It makes things go up. Ratings, it gets
not
the
his
white
name.
racist
He
It's
people
murdered
wound.
somebody.
Shit he says and
He
does.
robbed a 17-year-old of his future, period. Why is this? If you as a parent, both of you, if you've seen this over and over again, and in the headline, it had nothing to do with him being in jail or dead, and they are constantly keeping you up with what the fuck he's saying and what he can't even get close to Jay-Z or Beyonce. So this is not even fucking news. Who gives a fuck? But if you see that over and over again about your deceased son or deceased daughter, wouldn't you have a problem with this?
But here's
And
one
I'm
has a
with
puppet to-
Scotty. When every time I see George Zimmerman's name, I immediately think about Trayvon Martin's parents.
Yeah.
The people who have to be constantly reminded of the horrific act that this man did. But never mind them having to have the strength to stand in court and just be cool with the nigga that killed their kid. So when you say the parents are like a small percentage, I couldn't disagree more. Black kids is dying every not dying, getting killed every single day. I don't think that's a small percentage.
No, I'm not talking about the larger issue there, and I understand that he is a piece of that issue, one of the most prominent. Because he's one of the most prominent, that's why you keep seeing his name in the news. But in news in general, they're
He's
not.
not the most
listen,
prominent.
Yeah, I don't like that word
He's
prominent. I'm not
that's
using
prominent.
that word
He's the one that
prominent.
says-
Prominent
He-
is public,
He's
most
a
out there,
fucking
most known,
murderer.
infamous. Come on, that's a
He
fact. He's one of the
realized-
most infamous
listen to me.
people in
It's
popular
not that.
culture today.
Murderers. Infamous
Yes, okay, murderers.
Yes.
All of the
that.
murderers are prominent and infamous.
Yes, exactly.
But why
So
give
you're
it
going to keep
attention?
hearing news about him.
Why do they continue to give it attention? Like
He just said it.
Because
Yeah, but
that's not why. It's
No,
because
but-
he realized that in this day and age where social media rules everything,
Yes.
he's using this newfound platform that he got as the person who got off for murdering someone, and he's making money off this. And I think every time his money gets low, he sits back and says, what other dumb shit could I do besides going to actually murder someone else's kid can I do to make money? And then we sit here and we talk about, I personally think he should be made to feel very fucking
You know
uncomfortable.
what? But you say
People
that,
shouldn't
Ren,
accept him at all.
but when Hove spit that line, y'all killed X and let Zimmerman live, the streets is done, and I think I understood what he meant by that. He caught a lot of flack for that.
Not for me.
not for me.
I
either.
understand that, but he did catch
But I
a
guess
lot
I'm probably part of the small percentage.
You
with
are
Trayvon
100%
Martin's
part of
It
the
is.
small
It's
percentage.
unfortunate.
But my point is, he got a lot of slack for it. So I mean, and that's basically countering the point that you were making. So if he gets slack for that,
And he's sitting out there trying to make him uncomfortable. So when I say small percentage, I'm not saying that I don't recognize.
is this nigga related to George
No,
Zimmerman?
listen, come on. Like, I feel, I'm part of that percentage. I'm aware of where people feel about me, myself. I agree. I'm
Right.
telling you
Since
that.
you got kids.
So-
Listen,
No.
you guys gotta let me talk. What I'm saying is that I agree, I'm a part of that percentage, but I know the pecking order and how they treat us. And I understand what they're thinking, and I understand that the news organizations, do you think they care about us? Do you think George Zimmerman cares about us? No one cares. That's the unfortunate part. So when you have someone like Hove go out there and speak against it, that's the only thing that's going to make people care, unfortunately. That's when people, and they still gave him flack. That's the thing that got him off the bench and had him saying this crazy shit. I do not think he's going to do anything. I do think that he's for shock value. I think he has been made to feel uncomfortable, but I don't think news outlets, I don't think anyone that's pushing his name forward cares about us.
But
Do you care that they don't care, Scotty? Scotty too mad for me to.
You know what, Joe?
I feel you.
Joe,
I understand.
I have to care because we occupy the same space. When they don't care, we die. That's why we have to make them care. So when we have our celebrities and our public figures, unfortunately, people care very much about celebs and public figures.
Right.
You know, we constantly talk about being charged to speak out. When we have our celebs and public figures, people shift. There are white people out there that are rapping that George Zimmerman line that Hove spit, and for some of them, it sounds crazy. It clicks for them. It clicks for them when their celebs back it up. It's important to have allies in this space and people that can explain information and be in rooms that we're not in and be in communities that we're not in and to speak for us on behalf. Even if they don't always get it right, if the simple baseline, that's why this tagline is that short, Black Lives Matter. It has to be that short and that simple for people to get it. They can translate
It's
it to
that
any
short
language.
and that simple, and
people-
still no one gets it, and it's very confusing
Right, because
for
we
white
have
people.
news like this, again,
Yeah.
that...
And it's a distraction.
Yes, that distracts, but also brings copycats. People who want to do the same thing because they'll say, oh, I want to be just as glorified as George Zimmerman.
We hear this fucking idiot's name because he realized that he can say some outlandish shit and he's gonna get attention and people are gonna be talking about him.
To add to Remy's
Something
point,
needs
I
to happen
disagree
to
with
him.
I disagree
That's
with you,
just
Jinx.
me.
I don't think that we're allowed to coexist.
No, we're not. I didn't. I said we're
Well,
in this together.
I said,
but-
why do we care that they don't care? And then your response to that was because we have to coexist.
Because and
that's
when,
what we say.
Yeah, and when they don't,
They
care,
don't say
and,
that.
and when they don't care, we die. And you're talking like
Who is they? Who's they?
non-black people, white America, supremacists, the government, the media, all these people that we've been spending this time trying to convince. That's why we're marching. That's why we're protesting. That's why we're making our voices learned. That's why we want celebrity allies. That's why we want
I
our
haven't
people.
ever been trying to convince white people or non-black people anything. I try to convince my other
Really?
black people.
So you
because
guys,
that's
so
what
then,
matters.
so then, what do you think
the
about
strength is in the
Black
numbers.
Lives Matter movement? Isn't talking to us. So you guys think that those movements are
Who-
silly? That's a
they
message to
need
the outside
talk to
world.
us.
We know.
No, we don't know.
We
All
don't
black
know?
People, no, we don't know. All black people don't know
Okay, so let's
that
say
they should be out there supporting these causes.
So let's see
You
this
sound
through.
crazy.
Let's see this through.
So wait,
no.
before- let me just ask you a question. So are you saying-
So if it's Black Lives Matter and we know, right? Let's
No,
say
that's what you said.
So we don't know.
That's
so then
what you
okay,
said.
so it's only talking to us, only talking to black people. So we all know that Black Lives Matter, right? Us. So is that going to save our lives when they shoot us or they pick us up off the street with a backpack and say we stole
Jinx,
something?
I'm not running around here trying to convince white people I matter.
Exactly.
So
And that's not the messaging that I get when I
never got
hear
that from
Black
them.
Lives Matter. You
don't-
think
you
I
don't
think
think
that
it's
black
outside-
people are running
To
around
me-
trying to convince all
to
white
me,
people
that was a
that
wake-up
just
call.
value our
That
lives?
was
You don't
This is a
think
weird
it's a
word.
message to the outside world at all? Black Lives Matter? You
It's
think it's
a
just for
mess-
us?
I don't think it's convincing. I don't think it's
Yeah,
convincing.
Jay.
And that's
Yeah.
probably the wrong
So,
word.
well, then what word would you say? I'm just asking you, do you think the message is aimed internally or do you think it's aimed externally or both?
Both.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's not what you said.
Yes, I did.
No, you did. You said it's not
That's
for
what
us
you said,
because
Jinx.
we know.
That's not what
We
you
It's
said.
for
do know,
them. No,
and we should
don't
know.
It's plenty
But you're
of
saying it's
people-
not for them at all.
We just had voting last week. Do you think all the black people who a lot of these laws and these things affect went out and got out
If we're
there?
talking
Hey,
about-
let me
like,
take it even further than that. Just last week,
We're
we
talking
sat
about
here and had a whole
absolutes.
conversation about Kanye and some of his complex issues.
If we're talking about
right?
absolutes
So
do
don't
not
just tell me
exist.
about what black
You're
people
right.
know. There's some
the
black
word
people
all-
who are trying their best to look like them and act like them and be accepted by them.
And that's the
I'm not
truth.
one of them people.
That's the
so
truth.
Black Lives Matter, they don't, nah.
So I'm just confused here what we're talking about. So you're saying, but you think Black Lives Matter is an internal message that we need. Valid. I
do,
agree.
yeah.
We do need it.
And you're
Yes.
saying you're not trying to convince white people outside that our lives matter. You guys, you're not. That's what you said.
No, that is exactly what I said.
If we
That
care
is
more
exactly
about
what I said.
ourselves,
You don't-
it won't matter what they do. If every black person
That's
who
not
will-
true.
Let me tell
I'd
you
like
why.
to hear his
Spread
response to
awareness.
that.
Yeah, I do.
Yes,
I'm
spreading
let you see it.
awareness.
Let me get her
what I'm
point out,
saying.
Okay, convincing
If
is a
we, as
weird
a
word.
people, all got on board, all got on the same page, and we stopped doing certain things. Like when people sit down, I've seen so many times black people or people who are in public positions, public figures, and say, hey, black people are some of the biggest consumers. We need to stop buying these brands. We need to stop investing in X, Y, Z. We as a people who should feel that Black Lives Matter, we don't do that. We say, oh, well, I like that. I'm going about it. They ain't telling me what to do. When we see someone go out and one of our peers or one of our young men get killed, I don't see every black person on the planet in America out there marching, protesting, supporting it. People be behind their own shit. So when I hear Black Lives Matter, I'm not sitting here saying like, yeah, we're talking to the non-black people. Before we even talk to them, we need to talk to our own, because if we have 5 people
Yeah.
sitting there talking to 5 million people as opposed to having all 10, 20 million talking to these people, then it's going to be a difference.
I'm with
so
Remy.
yes, it's
I think that's
internally.
The
valid.
for me.
black dollar,
It's internally. For me.
black
matters.
people,
I think that's
It
valid.
matters.
black history,
think that's
black
valid.
information.
I
It
think that's
matters.
valid.
Yeah, I'm with all
So
of that.
yeah,
first.
I think that's valid. And I do think we occupy this percentage of the population, like we are killing each other. All these things that matter. We need to control our dollars. We need to control our messaging. We need to be on one page. When we have the outliers saying stupid shit, especially our most public figures and wilding out and saying slavery's made up or whatever the fuck, we need to grip them by their shirt
Do
and
you
tell them
think
this is
that the
valid.
value of black life is determined by white people, Jinx?
No, I
Okay.
do not. I think the value of black life has to be an internal measure that we understand. And I think once we have our messaging like Black Lives Matter, we have to push it to other people because we're not here alone. And because a white person can walk in your apartment and kill you and they don't think black life matters. They can pick you up off the street and throw you in a cell for 3 years till you go fucking crazy and you come out there and you can't even be in public life because they don't know black lives matter. They do not get it. I think that messaging does have to be echoed within our people, and I think every point you said is valid. But I do not think it's absolutes or extremes, and I do not think it is individual. I think it has to be everyone on this page, and we're not doing, everyone clearly does not get it because you can walk in someone's apartment and kill them. You can kill somebody and still be in the public eye and still get out here, but they need to learn it too.
In New Jersey, ain't no white person coming to rush into my house and do no shit. They're gonna have a long day waiting for them, right? That's just not a common occurrence here. However, Dallas, where that incident happened, Florida, there's a long-running history of things that go on there that aren't really
Texas,
kind to black
again.
people. Texas, long-running history of things that aren't really kind to black people. So all of these things that you're saying, when you take those ideologies and try to put them in like New York, New Jersey, like California, some of these...
Anywhere.
Huh?
In a lot of places.
I
Yeah.
don't get that from Jinx. I'm getting mixed messages from Jinx right now. He's saying
I
one
think
thing
you
in
want
one
absolutes.
sentence, and then he's saying something
Well,
else.
also,
another
you can't
se-
hear
I
the
don't-
whole sentence if you cut me off. Like,
But
I'm
I-
just trying to be
We've
honest.
been
don't
letting
think-
you talk.
We heard
You've
you.
been letting
I
you
don't-
talk. Your point
to me,
just
it
a little
sounds like
everywhere.
You're speaking from the perspective of someone, A, who's never been through anything. Like nothing
Well,
like
that's not true.
Yeah, that's
I'm
At
saying
one
what
point, it sounded like
It
Jinx said
sounds
we need to
like-
convince white people or
and-
something. It
and that's-
sounded that
I think
way.
it's just the
but
wording.
well,
Convincing
also when you
is-
get to that point,
well,
and then
that's
you
what we're
jump
talking
in and you
about
say
now.
what you want to say each time,
Right,
and then you
right,
say,
right.
"This is
But
what
I
I
think
think."
it
How
was
can you think when I didn't
spreading
finish saying it?
awareness.
I feel you. Like
Yes.
we're on the same accord. I understand the messaging that we need within our community. I've been on that. I've been those marches. I went to Ferguson. I've seen all this. I grew up in Jersey. Like I've had the same thing. I've had a gun pointed in my face, not by my own people, but by police. That's happened to me on a regular occurrence, and it's unfortunate. And I've survived each time. I'm in this seat. I get it. I live it. So if you want to question that,
Maybe that's why you think
gotta
you
let
need
me
to convince
talk,
white
Ram.
people because you had a cop or a white person put a gun to your head. Have you ever had a black person do it to you? Have you ever had a shootout in your hood? Have you ever had to get
Yeah,
jumped
I've
or
lost
chased?
friends.
So
Yes,
this is what I'm saying.
We're not going to sit here and have a
That's why my
biography
thing-
of my life because that's going to validate this conversation.
No,
Because at the end of the
it
day, I want
does,
to stay
though.
alive and I want my people to stay alive.
Okay.
That should never be for question for any circumstances, for a television show, for a meme, for whatever, for this moment right here. That's not even remotely okay.
But Jinx,
no,
it
you got to
is,
let me
though.
talk,
I
Ram. We're going to
really
finish
don't,
this.
though.
No, you do.
Y'all have
Like-
to get to your points and stop
You
talking.
do.
in
What I'm
circles.
saying is that we need to look out for one another. That's a very clear message, right? I think we understand that. When I see Black Lives Matter, I think that's an echoing of a lesson that we need to have learned and understand within our people. And when I see Black Lives Matter, I also know that that has to leak out into the outside world because we can care for each other all we want and we can look out for each other. We can control our dollars. We can make sure each other is safe. But at the end of the day, if a cop pulls us over, that's going to be really hard for us to be the ones that understand and they don't. A cop can walk in that and they're going to search that man's house and say he's the victim. If all of us get it and they don't get it, we still going to get clipped off. They're still going to be out here sending tweets and messages and be out in the public world.
If there's
I
no
think that's
consequences.
easy to understand, and that's a problem.
Good job.
Well said.
There it is.
I disagree, but go ahead.
It's okay. Well, no, that's not really true. You agree because you agree that black people need information that pertains to black people. Listen, let's talk about something that's a bit more lighthearted. Let's talk about some niggas getting fucked up. Yes, cool. Remy, is it okay if Jinx talks about people getting fucked up? Deani, are you calm?
I'm for it.
We good?
Yes, I'm
All
down.
right, Russ. One of my favorite topics. My man Russ. Russ confronted Smoke Perp at the Splash Festival in Germany, and that ended up becoming pretty physical. You know a nigga's getting beat up bad when you can tell he getting beat up bad and you can't see anybody. It's like a shadow. There's a bunch of shadows. All you saw was some hair and dreads flinging on. Wait, you saw the nigga cock back. When the last time you see a nigga cock back in a...
Yesterday.
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 All right, Ram.
All right, I'm done asking Remy anything.
What?
Yo, is it normal for y'all to see people cock... That nigga cock back here.
Nah, that shit was like a cartoon. I feel bad. I feel bad for him. Yo, he got jumped.
No, he didn't.
Bad.
He was talking
He
shit.
did not get jumped.
He was talking
That's
shit.
valid.
So-
That
Right.
part's valid.
He was talking shit.
I didn't actually, the thing that's confusing, I didn't see Russ at all in the mix. I just,
Like
Question.
a boss, my nigga.
Okay, so that's
like
cool.
Like a G.
So that's cool. So that's cool.
let's figure this out.
Yo,
What?
come on, dog.
So
You ain't Russ on the Forbes list?
He is.
Wasn't he on the Forbes list?
Forbes list niggas
Is a
can't
nigga on
forget.
the Forbes list supposed to be waiting by the guy's bathroom for Smoke Purple to come out?
Be honest,
He
it's a
could
really
be.
good
I wouldn't
argument.
not
I
smoke
wouldn't
purple.
object to it.
All right, before this goes any further, I need my panel to enlighten me on Smoke Purple. I don't know enough about him.
Smoke perp. It's not the
Smoke
Perp.
Perp.
Yeah, it's not purple.
So he's a SoundCloud rapper. I guess he's going back and forth with Russ. It's popular to say fuck Russ by many artists. Russ apparently had this footage of him beating him up. He let it rock, apparently. This happened a minute ago. He let it just chill, and they were still saying fuck Russ. And he went on, Charlamagne's show and was like, all right, cool. They keep saying I'm gonna let it go. They did. He let it go. And this is a really, really terrible look for Smoke Perp. A dude that you see in pictures with guns, not at anyone's head, but dude you see in pictures with guns.
Well, I guess
who you
that's
see-
what I'm asking,
and he's
'cause I
a
don't
alleged
know.
tough guy.
Keyword in pictures.
Smoke
Like,
Perp is
stop-
like
y'all
a...
gotta stop believing
Is he a
everything
tough
these
guy?
rappers say and do.
I don't know.
That's
So
what
why-
Instagram says. That's
I
what
don't think
Twitter
I
says.
didn't think either of them were tough guys, if we're being totally honest. You know? Like, I wouldn't
That's
know.
what's depicted on these social media sites. So they think that he's tough. That's why I don't say it's, I don't condone violence, but I'm saying.
Of course we do, Scotty. Yes, we do.
But if.
Really?
Yeah,
Last
we
week you was
condone
condoning
violence.
violence.
You just said you want something to happen to
I
George
don't
Zimmerman.
I say.
You was
Well,
with it with the whole...
Come on. But what I'm saying is
She
like if
condones
you
it
talk,
sometimes.
if you talk shit like that, you keep going, if you keep going, you keep going. something's gonna happen. He knew he had to come equipped with, where was his friends? Where was his homies?
Well, boy, time out. Before we go any further, just to provide some clarity here, I don't know a lot about Smoke Perp, but from what I read, this incident occurred because, you know, when Russ tweeted the whole, hey, rappers that are abusing Xan and Lean, y'all should stop. He was trying to do his positive thing, and Smoke Perp retweeted it and said, shut the fuck up, you a bitch. And then to my knowledge, he changed his Twitter avi to Russ's sister.
That's the part that I
You
think.
want the smoke.
Because a lot of people say fuck Russ. A lot of people responded
Yes.
that way. A lot of artists, especially artists that are part of that SoundCloud drug rap scene.
Why have we been saying fuck Russ? I know why I've been saying it.
Well, why have you been saying it?
Because he came to my old show and showed his ass. So I just was saying fuck Russ.
Yeah, I don't think he's a likable cat, but still.
But I
think,
don't dislike him. Like, I never met him.
I think his arrogance too. People see his arrogance everywhere, and I think that's always been an issue for people. Like, you're not humble enough. Humble yourself,
here's the
and you're
thing.
just starting out.
The arrogance seemed out of place, right? But the kid is successful. He's on the Forbes list,
Very
and
much
apparently
so.
he can back up what.
Yes.
And the thing is, he didn't even make any threats. Someone made a threat. The sister, I think, was a turning point, like it
Yes.
would be for most people. You know, you can say what you want to a lot of people. He gets it. He's saying his positive message. You don't think that's cool? Bet. The sister thing, that's the only guy that got touched.
The family thing doesn't bother me. That doesn't get to me. Like, oh, your mother. That's like so kindergarten to me.
You said that
doesn't-
last week. It
no,
did, though.
No, I said it bothers
Well,
other people. It
it's a
doesn't
new
bother
Remy
me.
this week,
I
nigga.
said, what I said is I say things like that. Fuck your mother, your dog, your dead, this person, whatever. But I'm with all the antics that might come behind that. So I really don't care. Things like that. If someone says to me, oh, fuck your son, fuck your mother, like, okay, cool. My son will wash you if he see you. Like, on site, you better watch him. Like,
All right.
the apple was right next to the tree.
Non-violence.
But what I'm
Non-violence.
trying to say is, I think a lot of times artists and just regular, not even just artists, let's take it over celebrities, because there are more people who go through this every day on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, say so much crazy stuff, and then they see each other in the grocery store, in a party or whatever, and nothing happens. And then they go back on social media, like, yeah, I seen you the other day, and you ain't do nothing.
ain't
You
see-
ain't do nothing either.
And you know what
Like-
it is? I think the niggas that, like, we assume to really be tough and to really take it there.
I never assume.
We don't want them to get involved in these activities.
Right.
You could beat up Lil Smoke Perp all day. That's cool. That don't affect nothing. Like, Russ could go, they could fight
Just
every
put a
day.
hit out on him. You can beat him
I'm
up
just
all
saying,
day.
they
You
could,
don't really care.
that's one of the
but-
niggas that you say, yo, every time I see you, I'm beating your ass. Period.
think it's
And
what
then he
Russ
won't
said.
jump right back on the internet, or yo. Yeah, no. Right? Now, enough violence.
Yes.
Enough violence, enough hypothetical situations from people on probation or parole. Let's get to something serious. Unity in hip hop.
Yay.
Finally, the men are a leading example of peace and love. Meek and for women in hip hop
That's
who
not true.
clearly don't know how to behave.
You know what? You know what?
Drake and Meek, are you familiar? Yes.
call me
They
sis.
reconciled. I hate Make Some Noise for the guys concert
on my
this
nerves.
is. That is the worst shit in the fucking world. I hate when they do that.
annoying.
When I used to
I used to
perform,
hate
when I used to perform and they used to have all like 20 million openers and I would be backstage mad, every one of them would get up there and say, make some noise for Joe Biden, y'all. I mean, like, what the fuck? No, don't make any noise for me. That's one. Two, the bulletproof vest, the lime green. Forget it, man. If that's normal to y'all. if it's normal to y'all, it's normal to me. It's cool.
It's a look.
It's a minor point.
I didn't realize it was a bulletproof vest.
Remy. All right, listen. Are we happy about?
swear I
Are we
did.
happy about Drake and Meek leading by example, finally teaching something to the women in hip hop, and finally deading this beef?
We just finished talking about Russ and Smoke Perp.
I'm appalled. Like, for you to
Are we excited?
For you to
Are we
even
happy
say-
about this?
I'm happy about it. I think it shows brotherhood and it shows, well, at least solidarity. Like, at least like we know that there'll be no more beef between Drake and Meek. There was nothing
say
else to
that.
come.
Nah, I'm not gonna.
There
take
was
that.
there was nothing
Whoa.
else to come. Like I wasn't looking forward to another diss record, so I'm good.
Well, that's
So-
because it didn't produce the best diss tracks.
Well, Back to Back was fire.
I'm talking about the other side.
Yeah, well, there's that.
I'm happy about it. I think, especially coming off the week that we had last week, like even this show, a lot of our topics were kind of fucked up. You know, we saw Mac Miller pass. We were talking about beef on red carpet or in general. This is a positive news, and these guys aren't small guys. You know, Drake is one of the biggest artists in the world, let alone hip hop. Meek Mill came after a crazy year. He just
Meek
got
is
out.
on the Forbes list now.
Meek is on the Forbes list with his boy Drake. Like I I like this. You know, I like that there's positivity in rap, and these guys lead by example. Let the youngins, let the littles fight. You know what I mean? Let these guys piece it up.
Wait, so you guys don't think that it's over? The Meek and Drake beef? Like, it's over?
I think there's nothing to be
What was
gained.
it even based on? Like, what was they?
You knew why.
The real version or the fake version?
What's the real version,
I mean,
Joe?
this is state of the culture, so what's the real version? Someone knows.
Drake didn't tweet out Meek Mill's album.
That was the
That was the
factual
real
version.
version. That was not the Ram. What's the real version?
I don't know. I don't sleep with neither one of them.
You think someone has slept with them?
Wow.
I need like an
I'm just
eject button.
saying, like, you know
I don't
what?
think, no, there can't be anybody that slept with both of them, you think?
You're stupid. I'm just saying. I wouldn't know because I don't like. I'm
Listen,
not close to them. Like
this
that.
is what I'm happy about. Outside of them piecing up the beef, I think that's great. I'm happy at how happy they both look.
But that's what I'm saying.
They
It's
are
easy-
really excited.
it's
Like they
easy
look like
to
they missed
patch
each
up
other.
Beefs when it was like when it's based on nothing. I don't feel like anybody was ever really disrespected to that level. Besides, like on records. Besides on
okay.
records, I'm talking about like something physically that you could never get past or get over. That it's certain things that I feel like is irreconcilable. Like it's just not gonna happen again. But and I agree with Joe. They both look happy. Like they. I
Them
feel
niggas was
like-
playing ping pong.
You know, we talk a lot.
They stood next to each other like Hove and Lil Mama.
Nah, they hug. Not little mama and Hov. You know
Yo,
what?
you
can't
are wildin'.
I cannot
Today.
Hove and Lil Mama was like this.
Excuse me. Watch it, Toots.
I think
Watch it.
last week we talked a lot about mental health too. Like when Drake
Yeah,
was,
why you keep trying to get serious? Sorry,
no,
go ahead.
it's part of it, right? We're talking about like people in the culture, black people feeling good, you know. I don't think that they lost a terrible amount. I mean, you know, they all had their own separate. Their biggest issues now are the things that happen in their own individual lives. But like, it feels good to like put things to rest, to talk it out with someone, to hash it out. When
Which
you
Drake
part
said,
with,
yeah.
Yeah, you know, like you feel that, and I think Drake's caption was super long. Meek was like, "We cool." Drake wrote a whole paragraph.
Yeah, but that was emotional for Meek.
But it was valid. You know, he's like, yo, this is weight off my shoulders. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this is some guy came in the game
Conflict
with.
is always heavy.
Yeah.
Like Meek said, yo, you're not writing your rhymes. He didn't say, I don't like your music. You know what I mean? Like, so even still, like, look, he's hugging that nigga like a fan.
yeah, and they
They're
hashed it
fans
out.
of each other.
Yeah, they are.
I think it's the most hilarious thing when I see Joe and our crew talk, you know, to Jay and OG and his crew about the Rucker game. Well, this would have happened. You crazy nigga? No, I'm telling you, like when I watch them, they talk hypothetically of what each side would have done. That would be me. So you're gonna tell me that line where I said you was a crush, that ain't hurt your feelings? You don't hurt your feelings. Like that would be me. Like when you get to the point where I feel like you could laugh about it and joke about it like that.
Dope.
But I feel like sometimes it just be some people really take shit to the butthole, and there's that's
you
not
can
a
do
good
about it.
feeling.
I want to hear more diss records from Drake. I do. They
Yes.
don't have to be necessarily directed toward Meek.
But what I'm saying is just because you mend something with somebody, that doesn't mean you're sorry for what you did. You're sorry about it happening. It's just like, all right, I'm past that now.
It's over.
You know not to play with me. Stay in your lane. If I spank your ass
Yeah,
again,
but
it'll be cool.
we had-
So
They
they
talk
ain't got
about
nothing to
the
fight
what do you
about. They
think?
ain't neither one of them niggas with her now.
I didn't.
Him
You
and
know
Push.
what?
That's what I'm saying.
Him and Push.
can't.
He
him
had
and
a
Ye.
chance.
I cannot win. He tried to slip that one
He
in.
had a chance, Joe. He had a chance to do diss records with Push, to go back and forth.
I don't think
No,
it's,
he did not.
That's
Jay
not
Prince
fair.
told him to chill. No.
I need y'all to stop.
Jay Prince told me to chill too.
Stop.
Told you to chill on what?
So you never know.
I hate that
Joe,
shit.
don't bring it up again.
I hate that shit.
Don't
Hate
bring
it.
it up again.
I'm done.
Because he just did a 3-part interview and we still ain't. Don't bring it up again.
I'm interviewing Jay Prince soon, actually. I know I'm joking around here.
I'm
but-
talking about you. Talking about you chilling. Like, don't. Because I have questions still.
Oh, so
There's been
listen,
interviews.
That's not a topic here.
Separated
but let
in
me
3
ask
parts.
you. But let me ask you.
You still ain't say
4
nothing.
parts.
Just-
Pardon
just
me.
go to
Miss
the next
Ma.
topic, Joe.
Miss Ma.
Miss Ma.
So you did see those interviews, right?
I saw.
The MC that you are,
I am.
did he look a little timid?
Nervous?
with the God?
Did
He
he?
looked.
Yes, he did.
He looked like he didn't want smoke with the God. I'm just say that. It's another topic here. And I'm tired.
It's very soft.
He looked a little worried.
I gotta watch it again.
It was a very different energy from
I gotta
all
watch
that
it again.
button smack a bitch had a hit.
I'm just saying.
I
I gotta watch it again.
I know. Now,
I just want the first 4 bars. That's it.
I'll
Just
give it to
between me
you.
and
I'll
you.
give it to you, but no, it's a killer 4.
Okay.
It's a killer 4.
I'm sure it is.
Kanye West recently tweeted that Throne 2 is coming. And while I don't believe a fucking word that comes out of his mouth, I'd like to ask my panelists what they think. Do you guys think that Jay knows that Kanye is tweeting that The Throne 2 is coming?
Well, Kanye didn't tweet that Throne 2 featuring Kanye and Jay-Z is coming. He just said Throne 2.
Throne is Kanye and Jay-Z, though.
But that doesn't necessarily, I mean, you see movies all the time. They come out with part 2s and part 3s, and they don't have the same actors necessarily.
The Throne may have changed to Kanye.
The name of their group together is The Throne, though. Like, you think he just kicked him half the throne out and just got a new dude?
Yeah.
Who is it then?
I don't know who he thinks. I think it should be Kendrick Lamar, not Kanye.
Kendrick and Kanye?
No. Kanye should be kicked out. I don't even think he deserves to be on the throne at this very moment. What he's putting out, because what he's putting out is mediocre.
The raps aren't good.
What's he doing? Lil Pump, Watch the Throne, Kim, all of this attention-seeking bullshit, and now the attention is taken away from. Now I'm not even thinking if he's on his meds anymore. Because that's what I was thinking a few months ago. When his wife was coming out saying, hey, leave him alone. Stop saying he's crazy. And then the next tweet said, hey, he's not taking his meds. And then every tweet he said he's not taking his meds. When it comes to Kanye, I don't give a fuck about none of this entertainment, smoke and mirrors shit. Are you okay? That's it. Are you okay? Nothing about his behavior tells me that he's okay. And if he thinks Watch the Throne is gonna get me to give a fuck about him being all right, no, my nigga, I got that album. And it's great. I also got you and Cudi. I got you and enough niggas. You done fucked enough albums up recently. I want to know about you.
So what will it take for you?
Not none of these shenanigans. Okay. I'm off of Kanye and the shenanigans. I'm off of Nicki and the shenanigans. I'm off of M and the shenanigans. I'm off of all of these disconnected, out-of-touch entertainers that are doing nothing but clinging on to these young niggas clout chasing. They're not doing nothing. Kanye was a genius last decade. Let's keep it a buck. The music has been under par.
Yeah. So who should be on the throne?
Mediocre.
You and who else?
You.
My pick.
They not ready. They not ready.
That's like
Reminisce.
Joseph and Reminisce. Watch the Throne.
Yeah, no, I don't know who should be on the throne, but I'm not just necessarily running to Kanye should be there.
But I do
Kanye's
agree with what you were saying. Like, you know, as far as it tends to seem like that. Like a lot of times where you see these artists who have these huge names and been out for a while, and then you see them linking up with the newer artists that are out and that are moving now.
Him and 6ix9ine look nasty, my nigga.
Yes.
And not because of 6ix9ine.
I think it's the selection that artists are choosing to go with, and it's starting to seem like, oh, you're only doing that because they got a song out that's hot right now, or you're doing that because they
he's
right
even worse because he's well documented as being a huge Pusha fan.
And they've collaborated before.
Tiana had heat. Tiana had heat when he picked her up. I could argue that he killed her. Like, there's no heat now.
And there was a point in time where that label, and over time, that label was adjusted to different cast members.
Wait, you're not arguing that, are you?
Yes, I am arguing that. I feel like Tiana has a fan base.
Yes.
She has a fan base. And people like her. And people like her. Like, just
no thanks to Kanye West.
I don't think it's because of Kanye West. I think
that's true.
That's what I'm saying.
Not because of Kanye.
I'm not shitting on Tiana. I fuck with Tiana. I'm saying everything that, you know, there's this big misconception that when the bigger artists sign these smaller acts, it's solely for the smaller act. And I totally disagree with that.
No.
I have seen Kanye latch on to fucking acts and suck them dry.
And inherit their wave. And
since '06.
You've been saying so much questionable sentences since.
Yeah, I can back up everything I say. Don't talk to me.
No, I'm just saying, like, the whole suck 'em
dry
kind of. Like, just.
But are you talking about?
Jesus Walks is a Rhyme Fest record.
Yes.
Okay.
Where's Kanye's career without that record? I don't know. I'm not pretending to know.
Okay.
Rhyme Fest has been nowhere since that record. What are you arguing?
Is that Kanye's fault?
Yes!
How? I want to know how's that his fault? Because
Give me his record back.
Rhyme Fest is a grown-ass man.
His song. Give him his song back.
He obviously gave it to him when he was okay with it. Like, what are you talking about? I think
See,
now what I have a
always get
problem.
into these
No, what I
arguments.
have a problem with is that sometimes people expect too much from the bigger artists. It's plenty of times where you sit there as artists, and this is, especially when you're in a crew, where you sit there, all right, this record gonna go to you, this record we're gonna do here, all right, we're gonna all come together on this, and you make executive decisions because this is the bigger artist, or this is who, like, you really can't.
That may be a different case when it happens with Kanye, because he's almost Machiavellian, like he'll go and just take someone's shit, you know what I mean?
He's
like,
not taking anything, they're giving it
you
to
think
him.
it's always a conversation? You think it's
Where's
always?
the lawsuits then? If he's taking it, where's the lawsuits? Where are they?
You had 808s and Heartbreaks, and then his whole run after that, a lot of his singles, even on Late Registration, I want to say, or no, Graduation, when he's using auto-tune, T-Pain felt slighted, right? And then he felt like, I think there was a story about Kanye West shitting on T-Pain at some point during the studio session. And then recently, his most recent claim is that Kanye took the bass line of one of his beats, the exact same thing. And he's tired of feeling like...
the new song with...
I love it.
with
Lil Pump.
And so it's like, he's not signed to him. That's not an agreement. That's just, you know, him coming through and being like, all right, this is something I like. I'm going to take it. And there's not that much claim to it, but it's still artistry.
Where's the lawsuit or where's the ass whipping? I don't want to hear the crying about it.
Yeah, the only people giving
I
out
don't wanna cry about
lawsuits
it.
is
Make another
Marvin
baseline.
Gaye's family, man.
Or some
Yeah,
random
they wasn't
person in
playing.
Germany.
They was serious.
No, Marvin Gaye's family is never
come for
playing.
No,
they coming
they
for
was
everything.
serious.
They sitting around waiting for some Marvin shit to get jacked. No, listen, let's talk about somebody else who's really confusing to me, even though he's a good guy. Wale is a little confusing to me. Why aren't more people talking about Wale's music? Not Wale, Wale's music. I think Wale has been putting out quality bodies of work basically this whole decade. I think we've just overlooked him because we've looked at the Coles, we've looked at the Kendricks, we've looked at every act that's come out at the same time as Big Sean, all of them. We kind of put him at the bottom, but me and there's some people like me who really enjoy his music. He just made a huge announcement that he signed to Warner Brothers, and now he's teasing retirement in tweets. I'm confused by it as a retired nigga.
I feel like people look over Wale's music for Wale. And sometimes his character gets in the way of his music. People sometimes really care about what you say, and they don't really listen to the music as much. He's the most misunderstood artist ever to me.
Why?
Because he's
And
verbal.
when did it happen?
He's verbal. I think throughout his whole career, he's
Aren't
been very
all?
verbal about how, no, Cole has not. Big Sean has not.
Cole hasn't said
Kendrick
a
has
word
not.
in 10 years.
Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. Wale has. And because of that, it makes him look like he's complaining and he's not humble and he's upset and he's always mad. And so because he's so verbal, people look over that for the music. And I love Wale's music. I love Wale's music.
We talked about it earlier about people buying into like your person and your ability to do other things with that. She's right. Like, it humanizes him sort of in the wrong way. All the guys you said, they don't, like, Wale does a lot of energy on Twitter and Instagram. Cole don't tweet. Kendrick don't do interviews. Drake don't do, like, they put themselves in this upper echelon of, like, you can't get to me.
Even Big
Someone
Sean.
broke this thing down to me and they were like, yo, you try to do interviews, people think you're smart when you don't talk.
That's why I'm just quiet right now.
It works. You know what I mean? People think when you don't talk, they think that there's something that you're holding back.
Jinx will
Wale's
never
very-
laugh at my jokes. Hold up for a
I
minute,
heard, I
Jinx.
just wanted to keep going.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah.
but
I heard, I
acknowledge
was
my
like,
joke
yeah.
for a minute. Let's loosen up.
It was like a mid-level. It
All
was
right,
like,
carry on,
C+,
carry
B
on.
minus.
Bernie don't ever laugh, so don't ever.
No,
was
she
okay.
laughs at nothing.
I'm just sitting here with
Stone face.
Jinx
But
is
yeah.
making me this other energy. I'm just making sure, like,
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
say the
Miss
wrong
Mom.
word.
That's
you know what I
I'm
mean?
on you today.
I know, I seen it.
Nah.
You ruined my whole shit.
You were saying
You were saying
Wale
something
is
super
accessible.
important. Yeah, he's mad accessible, and unfortunately, it's when he's airing out things that he finds dissatisfying, and that people don't really like that. They don't want you to be a total human. They want to feel like you're
Yes.
approachable, and they can get to you. He's a whole human.
When you say whole human or total human, you mean they don't want you to show, like, emotion, really. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it doesn't always work.
Because
for
Wale has
everyone.
been emotional.
I think it's I think you went through some of that as well. You were
You don't know my life!
You were super honest with people, you know what I mean? And you didn't hold anything back from the audience. I don't think he's gonna profit from all that right now.
You know the difference between Wale and me, not to cut you off? I didn't care.
Joe, you fucking care. You're not
lot.
gonna sit here and say,
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
care. I didn't care.
Rim.
To tell the
Yo,
truth.
You
you
didn't
know
rap
what-
as hard as you did.
You
if
know
you
what's
didn't care.
important? You know what's important? You know, my psychiatrist told me this a long time ago. Some
Fire.
of your character defects, sometimes you could just utilize as assets. I didn't care, maybe just out of naivete. Maybe I should have cared. But when people weren't liking me, when people were saying, yo, Joe was trash, Joe's a one-hit wonder, I was stubborn enough to just not believe any of it. So I kept going. So what I mean by Wale seems like he cares is I stopped replying to people with negative things to say to me ages ago.
That's the difference right there.
Ages ago. It
He's
just
trying to do
bounces
that
right
too.
off. Wale appears, and I could be wrong, don't text me no bullshit, Wale, I love you. He appears to still care about people outside of his base, and that doesn't really help to grow his base, right? Am I off in that?
No, that's very
real.
true.
And
Yes.
fans will say that. They'll be like, yo, you respond more to negativity than you do to positivity.
So I guess my question now to y'all is, should, you know, we all want the visibility, we all want the notoriety, we all want to grow our base. When is it appropriate for artists to start paying attention to fans outside of their base?
When they feel like it. Whenever they feel like it. I don't feel like anybody should be given a set time or set amount of times they can reply to outside things. I see that a lot too. It's times where people come on my page and be like, oh, you only respond to negativity, which is a lie. I say thank you and I appreciate it and all these other things, but people don't care about that. The only things that makes the clapback section or that makes the blogs is when you respond to somebody that says something negative. And the reason why I think you do end up responding to that negative person because you'll go through your whole timeline, which is mostly your fans, which is mostly people who agree with the same things that you agree with, and you have that one person out of everybody that's over there that try to say something disrespectful. It could be because they really feel like that, or it's because they're trying to get your attention. Now I'm gonna violate you. Now I'm gonna say what I want to say, and I'm gonna keep it moving because, like you said, he is a whole human. He is a whole person, and you have emotions. And sometimes you'll be sitting in your good space, and you'll be like, yo, why this person out of everybody felt like they could just come on here and disrespect me or disrespect my craft or anything for
But this
for that
is like
matter.
a random person. This is like
But
somebody,
but it's a
like, because he
person. 'Cause we
responds to
talk-
random people.
But that's
So he
what
should
the
only
world is,
respond to
right? It's
other
random.
No,
celebrities or
I'm
like-
saying he shouldn't respond to anybody. My thing is pour your energy into people who spend their energy on you and like positive energy. That's what I'm saying. He caters now. I feel like Free Lunch was catering to his whole cult
I
fandom,
think he
like his
gets it now.
fans. He gets it. But before, I felt like he catered way too much time to these people who don't even give a fuck. They just want Wale to respond. Some people hit you just to get you to respond. They hit Joe just to get you to respond. And once you give them that energy, that's it. That's all. Their job is done. That's it.
No, they're
To answer
done.
your question, I don't think you should
Their
ever
job is
really.
done.
To answer your question, I don't think you should ever really speak out of your base. All the people we named that were in his
Period.
class that are doing really well, they've tripled down, quadrupled down on their base. Remember when people were popping shit about Cole? Like he's boring, he's corny, whatever. It didn't stop.
And
him.
that's
He
where I
tripled
want to
down.
stop you. I do remember that. I remember when people were talking shit about Cole.
People still do.
I remember when Cole was basically begging for any type of support from Hove as a new act, you know. That's when, what was that, Blueprint 3? That was that, when
Blueprint
Cole was
3,
on that
yeah,
album?
around
that era,
It was a big thing around that time, right? So let's bring it back to Wale. And listening to you talk about Wale, I go all the way back to Wale on Interscope. Wale has had like a bunch of different phases. There was Interscope Wale with the Gaga record, right? Then he managed to escape from that somehow. And then it was Rock Nation Wale. And that was a whole new transformation. I guess I empathize with him in the same way I empathize with athletes who get a new coach every year. Like, you don't really have a system. So then it was Rock Nation Wale. Then there was a story about Wale being sad and depressed in Miami, going to a strip club, bumping into Rick Ross. And they had an amazing conversation. And now he's signed to Rick Ross. That's a whole nother transformation now. Rick Ross is a street nigga, you somewhere writing poems. Ross did eventually find the street nigga that he's probably attracted to, which is Meek. Then there was turmoil between Wale and Meek. Then Wale was the dominant radio act when radio was dominating, and now radio's not dominating, and Wale looks like he's trying to find his way. Then he lashed out at everybody. Wale is probably going through more transformations than most acts do in their lifetime.
I think that once we get away from this time and we look back at it, people probably appreciate it more the same way I think people look at any artist that goes through like that turmoil and change. Any player can be a star in the right team. I just think he's been unfortunate. He's had the wrong coaches and the wrong teams, and it's the timing too. And
Yeah,
some
but
of it's
I'm gonna
on him
put
as well.
I'm gonna
I
put
disagree
some
with
of it.
that.
I'm gonna put
It is.
some of it. I'm gonna put some of it on him though. Only some of
valid.
it. Warner and Atlantic, if I'm not mistaken, are the same, right? If Warner owns Atlantic, right?
That I don't know.
Okay, Warner does own Atlantic. Somebody fact check that in the back because I'm old, my memory is bad, but Warner owns Atlantic. So Wale puts the Shine album out on Atlantic Records. I thought that album was amazing.
That was his shit.
Good album.
That's the album that got him dropped. That amazing body of work that did not sell got him dropped.
his
So now
fans
he's
would've
at a
told him it was some
crossroads.
shit.
So he's at a crossroads, and now every piece of music that he's released since he got dropped has been fire. I haven't heard anybody say a word. No one said a word about it.
Well, also, fan bases are fickle and they make up their mind on you. I think he's actually set up in a way where people have ignored him or disparaged him for so long that there's this weird thing that happens, and it happens in any genre of entertainment where, like, we've been sleeping on you so long that all of a sudden you're set up. That's why he should not retire. You're set up to win.
You know what else is interesting about Wale? I'm listening to you. Boy, you're making some good points now. I'm glad that
Stop it.
So annoying.
Listen, what I find interesting about Wale also is this conundrum. Wale is like the one rapper who's into all the things that the kids are into, but the kids are not into him. Wale is into sneakers, heavy, fashion, right? Mm-hmm. Wrestling. Mm-hmm. All of that shit the kids like. What is making it so difficult for the kids to relate to his
First
message?
of all, like, you're talking about him like he's like this, like, sorry, poor rapper that doesn't get any recognition.
That's exactly how I'm talking about him.
Like, but I don't see it like that. Like, I feel like he gets a lot of exposure.
He does not feel that way.
Listen, he may not feel that way, but I don't feel like he's at the, you was like the, higher echelon, you started, but I don't feel like he's at the bottom of the barrel neither. Like,
No, he's not.
But that don't matter when Wale feels like he's better than Big Sean, he's better than J. Cole, he's better than, when you feel like you're better than the entire class you came out with, you should know something about that. Like.
What? I don't feel like anything, it's facts. What are you talking about? What happened?
Exactly, I'm sure Wale feels like that as well.
But at the same time, I don't really care about the whole music aspect. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. There's so many other ways once you have this wonderful platform of music where you can do other things. I always look at when people say they don't want to do music anymore or when they're hinting at retirement. You just said he went through all these different phases and different stages or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, so, which means he's changed. I remember we had an argument not too long ago. It was like, oh, so-and-so has never changed. They're the same person. So it's like, if you don't change, it's bad. If you do change, it's bad. But I think when you grow, especially when you've been in this business for so long, when you first come in, and I'm going to say for me, when I first came in, I just wanted to be the dopest. I just want them to be like, yo, when Shorty get in the room, or no matter what dude is around, you going to know she was there. Like, when you start realizing this is really a business, this is really a brand, it's more than what you thought it was, and then you start seeing other things that you can do, you be like, you know what, I'm good on this. I know what I did, I know I'm nice, and I'm a fall back.
When you came out, you were categorized as what?
As that bitch. What happened?
Now what happened?
A spitter.
After every line.
A spitter like a spitter like I thought, but I guess my point. When Rim came out, I remember there was no room for confusion as to what she was. She spit, right? Mm-hmm. I spit, right? So I mean, there's different categories for people. So what type of artist are you is important. Are you a radio act?
But I think
are
it's
you a
clear
touring
what kind of
act?
artist Wale
are you a
is.
streaming act? Are you an album act? Like, what type of act are you? So what type of act is Wale today?
You don't think that's clear? I think every album he has those songs. Like, there's one
He's
song.
not getting support in the streaming. He's not producing radio records because radio is dead now.
But that's the whole thing. It's not
he
just the
doesn't
artist.
seem to be a touring act.
Listen to me. It's not just the artists that are changing. It's the whole
consumer?
format
Everything.
of how the business is being done. So when you have somebody like a Wale, who I feel is very poetic, and he does these very in-depth songs, and streaming, I think a lot of the streaming records they're not conscious records. They're not teaching you anything. And I feel like we already know where radio was going. And then there's the touring. Like, the records that he makes, they're not the touring, bring the whole crowd and jump up and down records. So it leaves him in this other space. And I feel like, me personally, like, I've met him numerous times. He's a super nice guy. I feel like
100%.
he's content enough in his craft and what he does that he can say, you know what, I put out this, I tried it over here, I did it over here, I did it over here. I'm doing something else right now. And it's not
I wish he would have did that.
Why?
I wish he would have did that. I wish that, because I also think that he's content in his ability. Mm-hmm. I wish he would have stood firm and took a stand and been the content nigga with his ability and not rushed to sign a very new. He made a big deal out of him signing that new record deal. I was confused by all of it. You just got fucked. You just made arguably maybe one of the best pieces of music that you made, and you just got fucked. Yet you here sitting, you are dying to get back to a major label. He can't explain it to me. Nobody can explain it to me. So the confusion that comes from me is when these artists who have their own fan bases, because we do believe that Wale has his own fan base. Why are y'all not going to Empire and putting music out over there if you're so confident in your ability and getting paid every month? Why are you not doing that? Because you can't tell me that you are seeing a royalty check from Warner. You can't tell me that you're seeing residuals from Warner. So this is not just to Wale. I love you, Wale. Any camera, I love Wale. You already know what time it is. Now I give it up. Any artist that is confident in their ability, why are you just rushing to a major? They don't do shit.
I don't think
it's
he rushed
weird.
a major.
But he did rush to a major.
I'm sure you got to check.
I think it's a weird time that he came up in.
Oh, so we check chasing is what you're saying?
Who's
I don't
not?
feel like I ain't.
I
Because
think
you
Wale.
got it already.
I think
It
Wale.
just came.
Okay, but where was you before? You were just sitting there and it just
I
happened.
wasn't check chasing. I was
just
rapping.
happened to fall
I
on
was
your lap.
daring any nigga to come rap my way.
And now you're retired, and people can say whatever they want about you. You
Fucking
say
hate
nothing.
you. I thought, Jinx, you were saying something.
I
Oh,
think
and if
so.
you weren't, say something.
Yeah, I think. I think Wale came up at a weird time too. I think he came up in that switch between like people not needing labels like the young cats, and then also him. Also, it's like I had these moments like as someone I was interviewing, I wanted to have moments like Angie Martinez because she existed, right? Like I wanted to have her moments, but I live
Shout
in a
out to
different
Angie,
time.
yeah.
I think he looked at the guys that came before him and wanted to have a label. Same way Cole wanted to have a whole verse. Like he's a fan. You're talking about these communities he's in, sneaker culture, wrestling. It's as much participation as it is being a fan. I think he sees these things and sometimes wants to live it that way. I think that would be part of the reason he would want to sign a record deal. And I think it's also part of the reason he's super aware of what people think of him. Because that's like the wrestling community, that's the sneaker community. He's an internet guy too. He's in it all the way, and I actually don't think he's outgrown his love for music. I think he loves it a lot. I think he's super passionate.
You think he's struggling?
No, I don't think he's struggling. I think he doesn't think he's not. I don't think he's not where he thinks he should
in
be.
that retirement.
Right, I mean, especially
Well,
when you're,
why would he
be?
when you're,
that's not what I'm
when
saying.
you're comparing
He's not retiring.
yourself to the people you came in with. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Is he
can-
trolling?
Not trolling, but you compare yourself
I
to the
just felt that way
Kendricks,
that
to the
day.
J. Coles, to the Big Sean, to everybody you came in with. It doesn't add up. It does not add up.
Shouldn't he compare himself to them people? Shouldn't he feel like he's better than those people?
He should.
Every
And
artist should feel like they're better than everyone
But
else.
people are-
I
Every
think
artist
Wale's
should
best
feel
bet
like
is to
that.
stay the course and to maybe do a little less of the public banter. Keep
Which
making
he's been doing. I
Yeah,
watched
and keep
Salute
making.
to him.
I think he shouldn't even say retiring because that's distracting. We were talking about this before about doing things that better yourself and follow your path. And besides saying and doing other shit,
Listen.
I think he should stick to his shit. And I think he won't get it now, and that's unfortunate. But he will get it.
And all
when
three
he gets
EPs
it,
are fire.
Okay,
niggas will get new
all
on
three
him.
I was about to
EPs are
But it's
say,
valid.
how do you feel about his last EP, Free Lunch?
I haven't
I like
heard
most
it yet.
of it.
I
haven't
fucking
heard
love
it yet.
it.
I like it.
I love it.
I haven't
And
heard it yet. I'm going to check it out.
repetition will get people on his side.
It's been 3 EPs and it's been fire.
All right, Wale. That's how we feel about you over here. We love you. We welcome you here. And we would love to hear more music. Hey, but let me just say, in the event that Wale, if he were to retire, I think that would be awesome. I think Wale has an amazing post-retirement
You just
career
said,
ahead
yeah,
of
I
him.
can't
I don't
listen.
want him to rush to that because then I have to crush him. I don't want the rappers to rush to retirement and come do what I'm doing. Y'all niggas rap and do your poems.
That should be
Sorry.
your business. You
I'm
should be
dumb.
coaching. You should be post-retirement for rappers and guiding them where they should go because you got a lot of ideas for them.
You're
I
awesome.
need 400%.
We've got to wrap up this bullshit that Jinx said. Are y'all dapping? Remember, there's no other show like this one, so make sure you guys tune in each and every week, every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern, only on Revolt.tv. This is State of the Culture. That was bullshit.